Hello and welcome back to another Sketchbook Chronicles episode, and I'm using, by popular demand, the Mitsubishi 9850 HB pencil today because I did a video a couple weeks ago where I covered my favourite pencils for drawing, sketching and writing, and I asked in that for you all to pick one of them and that I would do a sketching video with one of them. And the wooden pencils were the ones that people were the most interested in, and the Mitsubishi 9850 ended up being the winner of that. So that's what I'm using for today. I did get two out and I sharpened both of them just so that I wouldn't have to go off and sharpen at any point if needed. But they are both the same type of pencil. The Mitsubishi pencil that I'm using is in my everyday selection of pencils. I draw with mechanical pencils the most, but when it comes to wooden pencils, this is one of my favorites. I use it mostly for writing when I'm working, journaling, but also for sketching and drawing as well when I want the feel and experience of using a wooden pencil. And for this entire spread today, it's all I'm going to be using. As you can see so far, it can produce a very, very light line, which is one of the reasons why I like using it, is because I have the ability to go very, very light with it, which is expected of a HB. But one thing that I really love about this particular pencil is that it gets very, very dark as well, just as easily. And you'll see that when I do the line art of the hands, all I have to do is just press down a bit and then it produces a gorgeously dark line for a HB pencil. Despite the fact that it does get quite dark, it is still not very soft, so the graphite, once it does go down, doesn't smudge that easily, which I also really love. And those factors combined make it one of my favourite, anything pencils, basically. So hopefully you get to see that particular effect in action during this video. I might also use this pencil to start off a watercolor illustration the next time I'm making one, just so that you can see what it's like when I'm sketching and then also what it's like when I'm doing finished pieces. That might be an idea that I'll write down in my little idea pile for videos, but we'll see. I do have an illustration series coming up soon that I'm really excited to share about, so maybe I can use it for that, but we'll see. I'll put it in the idea pile, like I said. Today, as you can already see, I am sketching hands, and it's going to be a full spread of hands today. And one of the reasons why I'm sketching hands is because I feel like I need to sketch hands at the moment. I have been sketching them here and there and studying them here and there for the past few months because they are an area that I've wanted to focus on a little bit more. But I'm starting to turn my study sessions into much more of a hand-centered focus now. And this is conveniently overlapping with my studying goals. So you get to see one of my studying sketching spreads here today. I have been studying a few different artists when it comes to how I want to simplify the hands and understand and simplify the forms and anatomy. I've also been studying the anatomy and the forms as well. But in this particular case today, what I'm doing is I'm studying and sketching from reference. So when I was sketching this, I had up a board. I made a pure ref board of a bunch of different hand references using various different reference packs that I have. And then I just picked and chose from what was on the pure ref board. I still have the pure ref board saved because I picked out a bunch of different references, and then I just did 4 for this particular spread, and then I removed those from the pure ref board. So I still have a bunch of other hands to go back to for future sketching future sketching sessions. There we go. when I need to study. And I made sure that for that board, I selected a variety of different hand positions, but really focused on ones that I either struggle with or would feel the most akin to things that I would actually be doing in either my art as a whole or things that I am thinking of doing soon. So it's a mixture of recognizing what I struggle with already and then also preparing myself for things that I want to be doing soon. And that's generally, if you've heard of me talking about how I structure my studying, that is kind of how I prioritize what I'm studying and how and when, is by factoring in both a response to my art. So by response, I mean noticing the things that I'm struggling with. And then also like a proactive preparation and preparing for the things I'm going to be doing next. And that is this in action today. I'm using a mixture of both. The easiest one for me and the hardest one for me was actually the same hand. It was the fourth hand, the final one that I did. And that's because the easy part was I'd already loosened up when it came to my line confidence and everything. So a lot of the line work came out very quickly, very easily, very smoothly, very like one take and done. So in that regard, the final hand was the easiest of the four, but I had the hardest time with one of the fingertips and the angle that it was at, which you'll see when we get to that hand. So when it came to actually simplifying one of the poses, the fourth hand was the hardest for me as well. So that was an interesting thing for me to realize as I was studying. And that's also something that I can then take and learn from as well in figuring out the things that I'm struggling with when I'm studying too. I can be like, right, okay, what was going on here? Was it just a blip, or was there some case of like, oh no, I do need to go off and really pay attention to this particular thing? And is it the perspective that I'm struggling with? Is it the anatomy? Is it the simplification of forms? What is it? What's going on here? And I can take that and then structure my next studying session if I feel that I need to, or whatever. And yeah. So how are you all doing? I have been. September was interesting for me, and hopefully now though things are calming down, hopefully, and I can get back to doing more regular videos again. Touch wood, everything is heading in calmer waters direction now, at least. I have I've had video plans in general. I always have video plans. I've got like a whole list of things to do. It's more just finding the time and the energy in order to actually make them. And I have a good idea of what I'm going to be doing for the next few videos, which is exciting. One of them is going to be something that the community can join in on. So I hope that all of you will enjoy that. It's going to be something that both people who make videos can join in on, and then also people who don't make videos and just comment can also join in on. So I hope that that is a nice little thing for all of us to participate in together. And if you all like that kind of format, I have ideas for other ones as well. That might end up being the next video, which again, if we're in calmer waters, will be next week and not 2 weeks from now. Touch wood. We'll see. Let me know how you've all been doing. Has your autumn time been as chaotic as mine has, or has yours been relatively calm? Let me know. What else should we talk about? Oh, I may as well talk about how I have been sketching the hands. You'll have noticed, especially in the first three, that I block out the rough position of the palm and then also the fingers and the wrist, if that's relevant as well. And I block them out in very simple angular shapes. And that process is one that I developed from learning over time and also just absorbing how other artists teach. But one particular artist that I learnt from was Jake Spicer, and I think it was his book Figure Drawing that is where I got the thing of blocking in the fingers and using that as like a framework to build the hand on top of. And that is the main way that I sketch hands now, whether I'm studying from reference or drawing them from imagination. I do find it a lot easier and almost intuitive to me now, because I've done it so much, to block in the finger positions and things that way. And it's an easy way for me to adjust them as well. So the particular hand you're seeing me do now, earlier when I was working on the 3 fingers at the bottom here, oh no, actually, I think it's coming up in the video. I adjust them. Yes, I'm remembering correct now. Okay, so you're going to see this in action as I'm talking about it. So once I figure out the finger I'm currently working on, which was the struggle point. This is the finger I mentioned that I had problems with. Once I managed to get that finger down, you're gonna see me adjust the block-ins for the 2 fingers underneath it. So at the moment, you can see that the 2 fingers underneath it are blocked in very, very lightly, just like a rough indication of where each of the segments of the fingers are and their rough angle in relation to the other fingers and the rest of the hand. You're going to see me move where they are after I finish this finger, and then you'll see how I then use that block in as a framework for putting in the actual anatomy and everything like that. So I find now that it's most intuitive for me to block them in that way rather than drawing them in as like cylinders or cubes, well, more like cuboids, straight away. I like blocking them in, and then I start thinking about the actual 3D form after blocking them in. And that is something that I mainly do for hands. When I'm working on other parts of human anatomy, though, I tend to do it in different ways. And it also depends on what I'm doing as well, whether or not I do like a 2D block-in or if I focus on actually doing more like 3D shapes. It kind of depends on the pose and what I'm doing. But for hands, I would say that 99% of the time it's block-in first. Which is interesting now that I think about it. I've not actually thought about it before, how I do that differently than I might do other parts of human anatomy. Yeah, the more you know. Now I now I know. Now I know that I do that consciously. I wonder why. Maybe it's just because that's how that clicks better for me, depending on the scenario. And that's the thing. How things click for you is going to be different artist to artist, which is a good question for me to ask you now. How do you like to start drawing hands? Do you think in 3D forms and you actually have to put the 3D forms down first? Do you block in 2D forms like I do before you think about 3D forms? Do you just go straight in? Do you just like do a Kim Jong-gi and just go straight into drawing the hands? What do you do when you draw hands? I would love to know, because I love how different we all are as artists, and what works for one person doesn't work for another person and everything like that. It's one of the most interesting things about art for me. So let me know what you like doing and what works for you and what doesn't work for you in the comments. I don't know if some of you noticed, but the sketchbook that I'm currently working in for this video is a moleskin sketchbook, and those of you who have been around on the channel for a while, and I mean a while, will remember the not so great experience I had when I tried a Moleskine sketchbook for the first time. The TLDR of that is that within a few spreads, the sketchbook binding fell to pieces. So that's not exactly a great first experience with them. But a few years later now, I decided to try them again because one was on sale. So I thought, oh, okay, may as well. We'll give them another go. Because I did like the paper. That's the thing. I did really enjoy the paper when I used the sketchbook, but I was very disappointed in the quality of the binding. So far, there's going to be a lot of touching wood in this video. I'm touching wood again. So far, this sketchbook has been holding up. I'm a good chunk into this sketchbook now, so I feel pretty confident that it's holding up so far. This is the final spread. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you have any questions on how I draw hands, if you would like to see a more sort of tutorial style on how I draw hands, please let me know in the comments. Same with if you have any questions on the pencil as well, and I will see you next time. Bye!